What's up, Tanner J-Man Show Nation? This is Tanner Lee, one half of the Tanner J-Man Show, and on behalf of myself and my co-host Josh the J-Man Munt, we appreciate you listening to our podcast. If you're a new listener to our podcast, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts at. If that happens to be on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review, as that helps us out a bunch. Watch our podcast live every Monday night from 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on the ISC Sports Network, and make sure to give us a like on Facebook and a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy some hot takes, topics, picks, and more on a brand new episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. Hello, friends. Hello, Tan and J-Man Show Nation. Welcome to a tradition unlike any other. Episode 281 of the Tan and J-Man Show, streaming live on the ISC Sports Network, as well as the ISC Sports Network Facebook page and Twitter page. J-Man, what is going on?
Not a whole lot here in southwestern suburbs of Chicago, but just living the dream.
Good dream, good dream. What's the temp there? What's the temp?
It's about, I would say, 46 or so, and cloudy, overcast, snowed over the weekend. We got 2 inches up north or so on April 2nd.
It is currently 50 degrees here in Rochester, Indiana, but it feels warmer with the sun. It's sunny out. I was hoping after work, to go hit some putts. I got a brand new putter for Christmas. Thanks to my girlfriend. I still haven't hit a single putt with it. I was hoping to go do that. Got to the golf course, and I don't know if it was the middle school team. I couldn't tell, but they had the whole putting green. So I was like, I'm not dealing with that. So
just another reason to hate middle schoolers.
Yeah, so I went back home because our other putting green, last I knew, I didn't go check it out. Maybe I should have. Last I knew, it got vandalized by some people late in the fall. Maybe it was in the winter, that took a vehicle over the putting green, and last I knew it wasn't puttable, if that's a word. So I guess I could have went. Oh yeah, I could have went and checked it out, but I decided not to. I decided just to go home and eat some dinner and get prepared for tonight's show because we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. Major League Baseball starts on Thursday. National Championship game tonight. The Masters start. Pretty jam-packed week here.
Yeah, a lot of preview shows all in one. Final Four recap. I got to be honest, I didn't watch a single second, so I hope you did. I saw highlights, and I know who won the games.
I watched every single minute of both.
That is fantastic. Saturday. So you're going to be carrying the show tonight.
Hey.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, my back's already hurting.
What's new, right? Every week.
Yeah. You want some Birdie Bogey here?
Yep. What am I, 2 down now? I lied last week. I need to go back and check, and I didn't do it. So
I think I might. Well,
you got a bogey last week. So
yeah,
one stroke lead.
1 stroke lead for me.
Okay.
So this is a college basketball question. Armando Bacot, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Sounds right.
Had secured his 30th double-double of the season against Duke on Saturday. It broke a tie with what player for most in a season in ACC history?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think on that one.
I will give you a hint, though. This guy is an NBA Hall of Famer that he passed.
Okay.
And Bacot is the first player with 30 in a season since Blake Griffin in 08-09 and is one shy of the record set by David Robinson in 1985-86.
Well, they're going to need it tonight.
So, yeah, they're going to need every single bit of it tonight. Birdie Bogey brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veggies!
I saw today's National Carrot Day.
Really?
Yep. Speaking of veggies.
Carrots
Noble Gnome has carrots, so...
Carrots are a top 3 vegetable, in my opinion.
I agree, and
you don't like vegetables? I don't really like vegetables either. I'll suffer through vegetables, but Bryce and Katie Roma of Noble Gnome LLC have the best vegetables available.
There you go.
Yes. Do you want to just start off with the national championship game here?
Yeah, let's talk college basketball. The Final Four this weekend saw Kansas beat Villanova, which I think most of us expected. From the highlights, it looked like every time Villanova tried to crawl back into the game, Kansas then just stretched the lead out. And then a classic between North Carolina and Duke, as ding dong, the witch is dead. North Carolina drove a stake through Coach K's career.
Yeah, going to the Kansas Nova game, they said an NCAA. I don't know if it was an NCAA tournament record, but it was definitely a Final Four record for most combined 3-pointers made in a game in the Final Four NCAA tournament. I think they combined for 26 or 27. Kansas got up. Yeah, they got up. I think it was 19 or so in the first half. And then Nova kept cutting it down. They get it to like 7, get it to 6, and then Kansas would come down and hit a 3. Nova had won the national championship, their previous 2 Final Four appearances. And now Kansas is in for the first time. It's been maybe 3 years. I think they lost to Villanova last time they were in it. In the Final Four, 2018-19 or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they played in they won the 2008 championship. That's the last one they won.
Last time they played was when they lost to Kentucky.
That was back in
2012. Yeah, so it's been a decade. It's been a decade. It's been a minute for them. I don't know what the spread is on that game. I imagine they're a few points.
I think Kansas by 4, I believe.
And that makes sense. We talked about it last week. It's 4.5, Kansas.
Okay. You like that or not? I mean, which way would you be betting? Would you take Kansas?
I'd take Kansas, to cover. We talked about it last week. Carolina was on February 16th. They lost at home to Pittsburgh, and we're thinking they're not going to even make the tournament. And then they find a way to win. They blew out Duke in Coach K's last game at Cameron Indoor, and they've just gotten hot. I don't know if they're a good matchup, and they blew a 25-point lead to Baylor in the round of 32.
And before the tournament started, Virginia Tech whooped them. Virginia Tech took them to the woodshed.
It's insane.
It's just it just shows you, and as great as the tournament is, more times than not, the best team doesn't win.
Yeah,
more times than not.
Yeah, we had 2 2 seeds and a 1 seed in the Final Four, so that was kind of predictable. Then as we said, you see North Carolina, who was in that region where, the 1 seed loses to North Carolina. You have the 2 seed loses to St. Peter's, 3 seed loses to St. Peter's. And then, of course, Carolina knocked off the 4 seed in UCLA. Yep. So it kind of worked out well for them.
Sure.
And Caleb Love's gone off. Armando Bacot has gone off. They've had a lot of guys contribute, and they've just gotten hot. I don't remember a team like this. Syracuse, maybe. They've had a few seasons where they get like an 8 or 9 seed and they somehow find themselves in the Final Four. But I don't remember
7-seeded UConn winning it all in 2000, and I want to say that was 14 over a 8-seeded Kentucky, I believe. 9-seeded Kentucky.
Yeah, 8 or 9-seeded Kentucky.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often. No. It does happen.
They would tie Villanova from the 80s for the highest seed ever to win the national title if they win tonight.
Yeah.
It would be their 7th in program history. I know Duke gets a lot of hate, and rightfully so, but I don't think for some reason Carolina gets the amount of hate they should.
I hate them.
I'm tired of them.
I'm real sick of them.
I mean, they're in it every 3 or 4 years. Yeah. They're in the title.
They just won a title in 2017.
Right.
And they're in a Final Four, it seems like once every 4 or 5 years.
They're the only team ever to make a Final Four in 6 straight decades.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, this afternoon. So and sorry to cut you off, but and a lot of question marks going into this season and into next season with Duke and Carolina, the rivalry, et cetera. Well, Hubert Davis has them in national championship games, so their recruiting is not going to fall off at all.
It shouldn't.
Duke has, of course, the name brand, but I could see. I mean, it depends on what Shire does here in the next couple of years, but I could see their recruiting falling off a little bit because I think some of the recruits they've got in recent memory went there just to play for Coach K.
Yeah, I don't think John Shire would really scare you that much if you're in North Carolina. As you said, Hubert Davis in his first year gets to a Final Four. I could see him being like a Kevin Ollie though, getting to a Final Four,
True.
getting a national championship, maybe even winning it, and then not really doing a whole lot the next 4 or 5 years and getting canned.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a little off topic, but remember Kevin Ollie was getting like NBA buzz?
Yeah.
And now where is he? I don't even know where he is right now.
I don't think he's a coach anywhere.
And I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Hubert Davis, but it just seems like a lot of things has bounced their way, literally. And I mean, good for them getting there. I'm jealous that them as an 8 seed after having all this success the previous, as you said, 6 decades, to have one of their worst teams they've had here in a while, and they still find a way to get to the national championship.
It's an interesting note here. My dad texted me this will be the 5th Final Four coach Hubert Davis has faced in the tournament.
Wow.
Shaka Smart, Scott Drew, Cronin,
yeah,
and then Krzyzewski, and now Bill Self. So Holloway from St. Pierre's is the only one that wasn't.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have never
crazy.
realized that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else on the game. Who you got?
I think Kansas wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the overall better team, but Carolina's hot. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I will go Kansas 77, North Carolina 70.
This will be the J-Man's bucket prediction of the week. I think Kansas wins, and I think they cover. I just think they have too many shooters. Their big guy will be able to handle Baycott a little bit. I just think they're the better team. And I even said this last week, for whatever reason, Kansas still getting a 1 seed. It seems like they've flown under the radar a little bit. Oh,
absolutely.
Which I don't really understand.
Yeah.
Because they're one of the top 4 teams in college basketball this year. But yeah, I think Bill Self finds a way to get a second one and cements himself as a Hall of Fame basketball coach.
Yeah, the list of guys winning multiple NCAA championships is not very big.
They're
all very, very good coaches.
Yep. J-Man's Booker Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watering. For life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance, contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watering@infb.com.
Coach K, in your opinion, is he the best college basketball coach ever? The greatest college basketball coach ever?
I would say John Wooden.
Yeah, I agree. Interesting, though, Wooden, the NCAA tournament was never – the field wasn't as big as it is now. And it's hard to compare coaches and eras, but
sure.
I think you're right. But Coach K is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of coaches, I would say, for college basketball.
Of this era, I would say it's K. Would be the top guy. I mean, you can even throw like a Roy Williams up there as well, but I think Krzyzewski's done more. It is interesting, though, that Roy Williams won a national title at 2 different schools, which, of course, Krzyzewski never left Duke. But, yeah, I would say coach of this era, definitely.
Where did Roy win his other one?
Didn't he win one at Kansas?
They lost to Syracuse.
Back in the 80s, didn't he win one at Kansas? Or no, that was Larry Brown.
It was Larry Brown, no. Yeah, Roy never won one.
Yeah, he didn't, Kansas. Did he? No, I was wrong.
My dad makes argument for Pitino.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Because he's won everywhere he's been, except in the NBA. Because he won one at, no, he didn't. That was
Tubby.
That was Tubby that won it in '96 after Pitino left. So he just won one in Louisville.
Huh. How many did he win at Louisville? They just won one?
One.
No? He's got Iona rolling.
Yeah. And he got Providence to Final Four in the 90s. Did well at Boston before that.
Yeah.
So, and Kentucky, of course. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. It's interesting. And the other news around college basketball is transfer portal. I mean, we're seeing guys enter every day. We're seeing guys go to the NBA, sign agents. We're seeing other guys go to the NBA, not sign an agent. We're seeing guys finally.
You can sign with an agent. You can sign with an agent now, right? And still have the option to come back.
I thought
for some reason,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the rules well enough, but I thought they changed something like that.
Yeah. It would make sense. I mean, I always thought it was stupid. You have to make this essentially a life-changing decision. You're not allowed to come back at all if it's the wrong one.
Right.
But yeah, it seems like even a few years ago they changed it. It didn't even come along with the NIL here this year. But yeah, I mean, over 1,000 players in the transfer portal right now. It's free agency.
It is. It is what it is. I mean, I've come to adapt it, but it has taken a little excitement and joy away from my college sports fandom, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit. But I mean, I just hope my team can take advantage of it, I guess. That's the only thing you can hope for your team to do, because it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
I sure will be happy when this extra COVID year stops.
Yeah.
I'm tired of some analysts, John Rothstein, they're not even saying like for instance, Aaron Wheeler from St. John's. He made it sound like he's not coming back to school. No, he's graduated. He's just not using his extra COVID year to come back.
Yeah.
Like they're not even explaining it in tweets anymore. It's just it's getting frustrating.
My team was helped significantly by the fifth year rule. But yeah, I think a lot of coaches are starting to be like, I think we're just going to go back to the old way, because it does make it difficult. It helps as far as transfer portal kind of stuff goes. But like, you don't know who's going to be back. Like Trent Frazier and DeMonte Williams didn't announce they were going to come back until like July.
Right.
So you're kind of just in a wait and see mode where you want to go out and be aggressive in the transfer portal, but at the same time, you don't know who's going to be back.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, as far as the transfer portal goes, I think I'm starting to get used to it. But again, coaches are having to re-recruit guys every single year.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they absolutely hate. I'm sure they love the opportunity to go out and get some really good transfers, but at the same time, they don't want to lose their roster.
And it's awful for seniors in high school.
Yeah. It really hurts them if they haven't committed to a school by the spring, because guys are leaving spots open for transfers. I mean, you look at LSU, they lost all like 14 scholarship players to the transfer portal or NBA or all that. So their new head coach is going to have an entirely new roster.
Yep. And it's impacting a lot of programs. Another newsworthy bit is Thad Matta.
Yeah.
Back to one of his old stomping grounds in Butler. Could be a home run hire for Butler. I mean, time will tell, but definitely for the publicity it is.
Yeah, they hadn't had much success here recently.
No.
After a 10, 12-year run of great success there at Butler. I mean, Thad was there in the early 2000s. Of course, he took Ohio State to levels we'd really never seen them, as far as
Xavier.
He had a really good run at Xavier too. Recruits the state of Indiana really well. I think Indiana honestly screwed up not trying to hire him last, and maybe he wasn't interested then, and he got the itch this year being around a basketball program again. That could have been it. But I thought Indiana could have done real well hiring Thad Matta, and Butler waited it out, and they end up. I think it's an absolute home run for Butler. I don't know if the Big East has kind of caught up to them a little bit, but LaVall Jordan was terrible there.
Yeah, and really the COVID year 2020 probably cost him his job, because they were pretty good that year and they were going to be a decent seed. But you can also make that argument for Archie Miller. Indiana was going to make the tournament that year too, which is unfortunate for those guys. But I thought Butler did LaVall Jordan pretty dirty in waiting that long. But they waited so his buyout went down. It also hurt his assistants because it made it hard for them to get jobs. But I was surprised by Matta. I mean, of course, our good friend and friend of the podcast, Andrew Eiler, is being a Butler grad. He's pretty intertwined at Butler, and he thought the rumors were that Matta was going to take over as AD and then hire Bowles. And I had heard that same rumor, except Matta coming in as associate AD for a year, then take over. And Bowles was going to be hired anyways. So, and maybe he only does this for a year or two, and then that happens. I don't know, but maybe he's just a bridge coach to get everything back on track.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, he's healthy. And
he's pretty young.
Yeah, I don't even know if he's
like 54 yet. Or 56 or something like that. I'm going.
Yeah, he's not 60 yet. There was a statement yesterday that he's in it for the long haul. He's not going to be a 2 to 3 year.
54 years old. He'll be 55 in July.
Man. So he was he even 50 when he left Ohio State? 2017, 5 years ago.
No, it would have been 49.
Wow. He looked a lot older.
Yeah, he did.
You could tell it had taken a toll on him.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of glad he's back. I think college basketball is pretty good when he's in it. Ohio State hasn't really been the same since. They've been good, but not nearly the level of Thad Matta brought them. And
good. Butler fans can stop whining about Holtman now.
Yeah, they can stop whining about Holtman. You know what's crazy? Holtman gets this pass from the media, but he hasn't gotten past the second round either. Of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
they've won a lot in the regular season, but hasn't.
That's a good point.
Hasn't really done a whole lot in the tournament. So, and losing to a 15 seed in Oral Roberts last year. But yeah, I think absolute home run hire for Butler.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, so. It's a big name.
I wasn't either.
Got everybody moving. So, and like you said, I think the Big East is kind of starting to pass them by. Mm-hmm. And Xavier was getting a lot of recruits. They weren't. I thought before the Matta hire, Xavier hires Sean Miller. Yeah, he's dirty, but he's got to get recruits. He recruited well in Indiana the first time he was at Xavier. So,
yeah, those two hires make it more difficult for Indiana and Purdue. That's for sure.
Sure.
At least ups the competition in state.
Yeah, ups the competition. Yeah. I would agree.
So,
yep.
You want to talk some Masters here? I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, Masters. I will admit, this is the least amount of PGA Tour golf I've ever watched going into Masters Week. Mm-hmm. Just hasn't been too compelling TV for me. I did watch a little bit of the Players Championship in March, but still, it's the Masters, and it's back to being a full Masters. Last year they had limited crowds. 2020 was the fall edition of the Masters with nobody except families and members. So this year is back to not only the regular time slot, which it was last year, but regular full galleries, grandstands, all that stuff. The only thing I saw that was different is they're not offering their ice cream sandwiches anymore for some reason down there. Used to have weird. Like peach ice cream in between sugar cookies as their ice cream sandwiches, but for some reason they're not. Because that for as expensive as everything is at the Masters, ticket wise and every ticket price and everything, face value, the concessions are extremely cheap, and even the merchandise isn't too bad. I don't think.
What is it the pimento sandwich or something like that?
Pimento cheese, yeah, that's their staple. So, but I've heard everything's pretty good. Never been. That's still on my bucket list to get to one of these days. But looking at the betting favorites here, Jon Rahm is the favorite to win. No surprise there. He's been playing really good golf this past year. Justin Thomas, also no surprise. A lot of these guys at the top's no surprise. Justin Thomas has the game that just shouts Masters champion. He's very creative with the shots, and that's the thing in Augusta. You got to be very creative. Dustin Johnson, 2020 champion. He's third. And then two guys tied for fourth. Cameron Smith, who's been on fire this past year. He can, when his putter gets going, I don't know if there's a better putter in the world. And Scotty Scheffler, who is the number one ranked golfer in the world right now, J-Man.
Wow.
2 months ago, he had 0 career wins. Since then, he has 3.
Man, he's on fire.
He is on fire. So wouldn't shock me to see him in contention. He'll be a hot pick. Your boy, Rory McIlroy.
Oh, yeah.
He's still up there, still looking for his.
Oh, shoot. You know what? I already used my bucket. I might have to double book it this week.
I'll let you double book it. I think it was one of your bold predictions maybe for the year.
Probably. Yeah.
But Rory's still looking for that coveted, his personal Grand Slam. He's never won the Masters. He was leading there in 2011, then shot an 80 in the final round. That's when he was just a young pup. He hasn't won a major, though, since 2014. Yeah. So, I mean, we're going on 8 years this year.
Tan and J-Man show started in 16.
Yeah,
so
every single time.
That plays a role.
He's got to figure this out someday. We're going to get him on the pod. Brooks Koepka, right behind Rory. Patrick Cantlay, he's one of my favorites to win. Jordan Spieth knows the course about as well as anybody. Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa, Will Zalatoris, who put on a show last year, darn near won. And then Xander Schauffele is up there. Bryson DeChambeau is at plus 3,500, but he was my pick to win, and that was one of my 22 bold predictions of 2022. So I got to stick with it. Bryson today said he's only 80% healthy. So I know he's not going to win, and I don't like saying he's going to win, but I have to stick to my word. And some of our bold baseball predictions coming up later, or some of our predictions for baseball go back to our bold predictions. So, I mean, we make those for a reason. We got to stick with them.
Yeah.
But it should be fun. I'm looking forward to watching it. I think Tiger Woods will play. We'll probably officially find out tomorrow. But he was playing a practice round full in front of full crowds today. He wouldn't get there days early and practice and test everything out if he wasn't going to play.
Right.
So it's incredible that he's going to be playing.
This is first tournament since.
Yeah, he played in a father-son thing in December with Charlie, but that was they could ride carts, I believe. I mean, Augusta is a bear to walk, especially 4 days in a row with the hills, or more than 4 days with the practice rounds. But it wouldn't shock me to see him miss the cut. But it wouldn't shock me for him to be in contention. Tiger Woods. I mean, he does things no other athlete can do.
Got to be pretty rusty.
I mean, if he was to win this and win another Masters title after almost having to have his leg amputated, that puts his 2019 win to shame.
Yeah, it really does.
It might be the best feat in sports history. I mean, not only because of everything he's went through, but the young talent in golf is just getting better and better, and Tiger's getting older. So I think that's definitely the headline of the week's Tiger. And then Rory McIlroy's still a headline, of course. Another headline is going to be the absence of Phil Mickelson, missing his first Masters since 1994. Nobody knows when he's going to return to golf, if he returns at all this year.
Why is he sitting out?
He said he's doing it for his mental health. He came out and made those comments against kind of both the Saudi Arabia League and the PGA Tour. And he was trying to say he was coming out against the PGA Tour for them to make some changes. Well, that's not really how you should go about it, I guess. They have boards and stuff you can go in front of. But my guess is, Josh, he's actually suspended from the PGA Tour for a couple months behind the scenes, and they're doing this instead, or he's doing this on his own. That's just my theory. But it's going to stink without seeing Phil in there, because not only is he one of my favorites and he's a big draw to golf, but he usually plays Augusta pretty well. But so your pick's Rory.
Book it. I'm
going with Bryson, but if it wasn't for my bold predictions, I would go with Cameron Smith.
So. You can book it.
Rory
will absolutely win this year.
Yeah, he's missing the cut, everybody. So don't get on DraftKings or FanDuel right now and place your bet because of what the J-Man told you.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on.
Don't look at the shirt. Don't follow the shirt's advice right here.
I'm gonna check on Thursday afternoon. He's gonna be like 6 over or something like that. Through 8 holes. I'm like, yeah.
If he doesn't get it done, I think it's time for the Tandon J-Man Show Twitter account to tag him in a tweet or two.
I might just need to retire that, the book it for.
I think you got to keep it going. We're going to be here in 2032, and you're still going to be doing the book hits. But I got a word association for you, and it is all Masters related. I'm sure I've done this in the past, but I don't remember doing so. And why I'm bringing this up. Let me bring up the read here in a little bit. But starting with Dustin Johnson, the 2020 champion.
Didn't he get busted for drug use?
That was the rumor. I mean, he got, I think, suspended or took personal time off from the tour. I mean, it was rumored cocaine possibly, but I don't know if it was ever.
I wonder if it makes it less special to win the Masters in November like he did.
In front of nobody. But he killed it. Yeah, set a course record.
In front of nobody. Than it is at its normal time in April. I wonder if it's less green in November. I don't remember. Do you remember?
It was still in pretty good shape. It was just different. More, of course, the fall leaves on the trees and things.
Probably a little chillier.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought you were going to say Polina Gretzky. So
Wayne Gretzky's daughter.
Yeah, who has been his fiance for I don't know how long now. Supposedly they actually are getting married this year, but we'll see. Tiger Woods, champion in 2019, 2005, 2002, 2001, and 97.
Greatest golfer of all time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, some people will say Jack, And you can make a case for Jack, but Tiger definitely ascended the sport unlike anybody else.
Especially after having years of not winning anything to win the Masters in 2019.
That was
that was incredible.
Incredible was. Patrick Reed, champion 2018.
Captain America.
He's really fallen off the map. I mean,
people
didn't make
don't
the
like
Ryder
him very
Cup
much
last
either,
year.
do they?
Well, people still don't like him, fans and players alike. But he's kind of fallen off the map. I don't know when the last time he's played really well. Maybe this will be the week, but yeah, I was mad that year because he beat my boy Ricky Fowler by 1 stroke. Which
Ricky in the Masters this year?
Nope, second year in a row he's not in it.
Man.
So he's completely lost it. I don't know.
It seems like he was getting a little bit better at the end of last year.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I mean, I know he is a father now. I don't want to say that's derailing his golf game, but I'm still hopeful he can get it back. But I still go back to his coaching change he made about 2 or 3 years ago, and his game has not been the same ever since. So, Jordan Spieth, 2015 winner.
Oh man, he had that choke job a few years after that.
Right after,
the next year. Does he won? Did he win a major last year?
No, he won a tournament for the first time in 3 years.
That might be what I'm thinking. How's he been playing?
Up and down. I mean, the thing with Spieth is he can shoot 6 under or he can go 6 over. I mean, you just never know. His short game's always consistent. He's a good chipper and putter, but his golf swing sometimes can get way off plane. So,
he was looking like an absolute superstar, and he really hasn't done a whole lot lately either.
He was definitely he's still having a great career to this point, but people by now thought he'd have 8 or 9 majors.
Yeah.
And he still has 4. He's still missing the PGA Championship for the career Grand Slam. Bubba Watson, champion here in 2014 and 12.
Lefty. That's all I got on him. I remember hitting that crazy shot in the woods.
Yep, from the pine straw. He can bend it. He says he doesn't know how to hit a golf ball straight. He has to picture the curve one way or the other. So Augusta sets up good for left-handed players. So Phil Mickelson, we just mentioned Phil, but champion in 2010, 06, and 04.
He won a major last year, right?
The PGA, yeah.
That's right. I remember that. He at an old age, and he hadn't won a whole lot recently either. The old lefty.
Zach Johnson, 2007 champ.
Oh, he's from I think he's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
I knew it was going to be Iowa. That's why I put him in there. He won it that year playing smart. Like, he's not a long hitter, so he wasn't going for the par 5s in 2. He would lay up to a good distance in 2, get on in 3 usually with a wedge and birdie. I mean, he just played the course really smart. He played it. I mean, he's the Ryder Cup captain coming up next year. When they go over to France, I believe it's in. And he's a 2-time major champion. I mean, he's won the Masters in 2007, and he won the Open Championship a handful of years ago.
I watched him golf at the John Deere Classic, and for whatever reason, I think he won it that year.
He dominated that course.
2012 or something like that. But, yeah, they go so low at that course. It's crazy.
He went to Drake, but he's an Iowa Hawkeye fan. So, Nick Faldo, champion in 96, 90, and 89.
I've heard of him. I don't have anything on him, but
he's right there with Nance on the CBS crew.
Is he?
He's I want to say a 3-time Masters champ. I think he's a 5-time major champ, maybe 6-time major champ. Sir Nick Faldo. I've come to appreciate him over the years. In college, I couldn't stand him. So
Nance has a pretty good gig.
Yes, he does. He's got one of the best. I mean, he would call the national championship game tonight than be in Augusta. Freddie Couples, 1992 champ.
Freddie Couples. He's an old man now, isn't he?
Yep. Smooth swinging Freddie's been on the Champions Tour, the Senior Tour for a good amount of years now. He was actually roommates with Nance at the University of Houston.
That's right.
Yep. 2 more here. Jack Nicklaus, champion in 86, 75, 72, 66, 65, and 63.
Man, one of the greatest ever. He's right up there with Tiger.
The Golden Bear. And another great one here, the late great Arnold Palmer, who was champion 64, 62, 60, and 58.
Lemonade and iced tea.
Yep, half and half. Arnold Palmer. That was a great ESPN commercial.
That was awesome.
Arnold Palmer, for how great of legendary golfer, never won the career Grand Slam.
Wow.
He never won. I think it was I could be mistaken. I think he never won the PGA Championship. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. Either that or the U.S. Open. I think it was the PGA Championship. So that's going to do it for this week's Word Association, which is brought to you by, let's see here. I lost my read. Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call today at 574-210-3815.
You want to get educated here?
Yes, I need to be smartened up today.
On this day in 1937, who won the Masters?
Let's go Bobby Jones.
Ooh, Byron Nelson.
Another
Who
legend.
won the Masters on this day in 1938?
Walter Hagen.
Henry Picard.
No.
On this day in 1974, Hank Aaron tied Babe Ruth's home run record by hitting his 714th in Cincinnati, facing Jack Bellingham.
Was that when the guys came on the field and ran the bases around, or was that 7:15?
I think that's when he broke it.
Okay.
Which he probably broke it shortly thereafter, I would imagine.
Yeah.
On this day in 1983, who won the men's basketball NCAA championship?
That was Indiana, wasn't it?
No, that was the Lorenzo Charles tip-in for NC State. Beat Houston.
Oh, Indiana won it 76, 81, 87. I was thinking 81. Okay. I got 81 and 83 mixed up.
Jimmy Valvano ran onto the court.
Yep. That's right.
1988, who won the NCAA men's basketball national championship?
Is that Georgetown?
Kansas beats Oklahoma 83-79. Danny Manning was named tournament.
We just talked about Larry Brown earlier. I was thinking that was 89, but 89 was Michigan, wasn't it?
Yes, it should have been Illinois. Illinois swept Michigan in the regular season, then lost to Michigan in the final.
Glenn Rice, Michigan team.
Yep.
Yeah.
On this day in 1989, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's last NBA game was played.
Wow, I thought he retired before them.
Hey, Lee lasted quite a long while.
Yeah, for a big fellow too.
Yeah. On this day in 1994, who won the men's basketball national championship?
UNLV?
Arkansas beat Duke 76-70. You're about a year off on some of these.
And now that you mention it, I remember we had a classmate in middle school who had a 1994 Arkansas Razorback national championship shirt that he wore quite a bit. Darn.
I remember that. What they call that, like 90, their defense, like 94 feet of hell or something like that.
Oh, man. I'm mad at myself.
Go ahead.
I pride myself in knowing the champions from the year I was born on, and I'm screwing it up.
On this day in 1994, Cubs Carl Tuffy Rhodes hit 3 homers. I don't know why it said 94, because it says Cubs Tuffy Rhodes hits 3 homers in 1993, hits 3 homers on opening day versus Mets starter Dwight Doc Gooden at Wrigley Field. So I know it was today, but I think it was 93.
Tuffy Rhodes. What a nickname.
Tuffy Rhodes. He had a fantastic career.
Remember how he got that nickname?
I don't know. He had a great career in Japan. He didn't last for the Cubs very long, but he had a good year, good career in Japan. Yeah,
and a good game.
On this day in, nope, not doing that one. 2005 national championship game.
Okay. I was going to say, why are we not doing that one? Okay.
2011, who won the national championship?
2011 was UConn over Butler, the most boring national championship game I've ever watched in my life.
It was terrible. 53-41.
It was just, I remember at halftime, it's like, this is awful.
Yeah.
That game was in Houston.
Final one here on this day in 2016. Chris Jenkins hits a buzzer beater to beat North Carolina. Villanova beats North Carolina.
I was very happy I stayed up for that one.
The thing that annoys me with this on this day is it doesn't even say Chris Jenkins hit the buzzer beater. I just know what happened. All it said is Wildcats guard Phil Booth had 20 points. That's all.
Yeah, and that was arguably the best shot in NCAA tournament history.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but I learned some things today, and I failed because a lot of times, like my math scores back in the day, I missed it by a number. So, but now this day is brought to you by Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated custom woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs. From signs to growth charts, their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of their recently completed projects, visit Mooney Woodcrafts on Instagram at Mooney Woodcrafts or visit their Facebook page. And for orders, contact them at mooneywoodcrafts@gmail.com.
This episode is brought to you by The Dan Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, Dan Landing is the place to be. The Dan Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou, focused on freshness and quality. You can wash down their delicious food with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou and their beer garden or outdoor bar area. Whether it be boats or wheels, the Dan Landing is a place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
Ate there for lunch yesterday. Had some za, had some pizza, and some pretzel bites. Couldn't go wrong. Great Sunday lunch.
They have some. Oh, their pretzel bites are fantastic. Their whole menu I enjoy.
Yeah, beer, cheese. Sit right by the window and looked out at Lake Manitou. Saw somebody on a speedboat, and I'm like, "You're braver than me." It was chilly.
Yeah, it was not a warm day yesterday.
No, somebody was out there moving on a speedboat. All right.
Yeah. Hey, more power to them, I guess.
Saw some lifts getting put in those, so it's getting closer.
Yeah, here in a few weeks, the place will be packed.
Yep.
Maybe not a few weeks, maybe a month, but yeah.
Yep.
Major League Baseball starts Wednesday night. I don't even know. Cubs start Thursday, and that's all that matters in my
opinion. I see the 7th. Maybe somebody plays on the 6th, but this is one of your favorite shows of the year.
It is a fun one. This is the least excited I've ever been for a Major League Baseball season, though. The lockout, for one, took its toll, and two, the Cubs just aren't going to be very good. Is my prediction.
They will be better than the Reds or the Pirates.
They should be better than the Reds and the Pirates, but you never know at this point.
Yeah.
But I have division by division here, and I have each team ranked in each division. Starting with the American League East, I have the Blue Jays winning the American League East. They lost Marcus Semien to the Rangers, Robbie Ray to the Mariners, Steven Matz to the Cardinals, but they trade for Matt Chapman, signed Kevin Gausman and Yusei Kikuchi. Where do you have? Who do you have winning?
I have Toronto winning the East. Yes.
That offense should mash. The bullpen's still kind of a question mark, but that starting rotation should be really good.
Did you know that's the only stadium in MLB still active that was built in the 80s?
That was built during the 80s?
Yeah, it was built in 89.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, that's an interesting one. I wonder what other stadiums were built in 89. But like we've seen stadiums torn down that were built in the 90s. Like
that's what I mean.
Yeah, Turner Field. I just saw it on this day. I didn't say it, but Turner Field was built in 97, and they already tore it down just 20 years later.
Or it might be. Maybe it's the only AL park built in the 80s.
I don't know.
But something like that. I was on Barstool the Dozen the other day. I should have paid more close attention. But because you think about it, I was even going like in my head, like NFL stadiums, a lot of them don't even go back to the 80s anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy. They just try to modernize it so quickly now because you have to. You really have to.
Well, look at the Bills, the Buffalo Bills. I know we're getting off target here, but the Buffalo Bills, they're about to get a new stadium. So.
Yeah, they definitely need one. It sounds like it's going to be open air, so it's going to be freezing there. That's kind of their home field advantage.
I guess, but yeah.
I have the Red Sox finishing second in the AL East. They lost Eduardo Rodriguez to the Tigers, Kyle Schwarber to the Phillies. They did sign Trevor Story, though. Again, that offense should absolutely mash. Pitching staff should be pretty solid as well.
I have the Tampa Bay Rays second.
I have the New York Yankees finishing third. Traded for Josh Donaldson, re-signed Anthony Rizzo. This division should score a lot of runs this year.
Yeah. We'll see if they can stay healthy.
Which that's been an issue for Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Rizzo at this point in his career.
And their pitching staff too. We'll see. This is my bold prediction. I mean, I think this is Aaron Boone's last year. If he doesn't get done in the playoffs, I think he's gone. I mean, they don't have a lot of patience.
Probably. So, I have the Tampa Bay Rays finishing 4th in the AL East.
I have the Red Sox.
It wouldn't surprise me I could see the top 4 teams, much like last year, all 4 of them had 90 wins.
Right, all 4 are going to be good.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that again.
Then you just got a trash organization.
Yeah.
At the end.
The Rays did sign Corey Kluber. That was kind of their big offseason move. Yeah, Baltimore Orioles should be terrible. Pitching staff's horrendous. They don't spend any money. They do have a few really good players. So Cedric Mullins is one there in center field for them.
Can you imagine being a Oriole fan?
They were good not that long ago,
that's
too.
True. They were, but
they've gotten so bad.
They were so bad for most of our childhood growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, they had Cal Ripken. That was it.
Yeah. In the American League Central, I have the White Sox winning that division. Lost Carlos Rodon to the Giants. Traded Craig Kimbrell to the Dodgers for A.J. Pollock. They honestly should have very little competition to win the AL Central. I think the Tigers will be solid. But I think the White Sox will win. They won last year by 13 games. I don't know if they'll win it by that much this year, but I think they should have no problem winning that one.
Well, if you remember right, here's where our bold predictions get me in the corner. One of my bold predictions: White Sox not making the postseason, so I can't have them win the division. So this is my boldest prediction. I got the Detroit Tigers winning the Central.
I honestly could see the Tigers being pretty good. They signed Javi Baez and Eduardo Rodriguez. Top 5 prospect in baseball, Spencer Torkelson, has made the team out of spring training. They need a breakout year for Casey Mize. They have another top 5 prospect in baseball, Riley Green, who was going to make the team out of spring, but he has a foot injury. I believe he's going to miss the first few weeks. The good thing about this new collective bargaining is teams are no longer holding their prospects back a few weeks just to gain an extra year of control. So that's been really cool for a couple AL Central teams here.
I like the AL Central so much better when the Tigers are good for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Just this division's so boring to me.
It is. That's fair. I have the Twins finishing 3rd, signed Carlos Correa, Sonny Gray. I traded for Sonny Gray, Dylan Bundy, and Chris Archer. I think they'll be mediocre. I don't think they'll be good. I don't think they'll be bad. I just don't think they'll be a potential playoff team.
I have the White Sox number 2. I don't know if I said that or not. And then I have the Twins also at 3, like you.
I have the Royals finishing 4th. Top prospect in baseball, Bobby Witt Jr. made the team out of spring. Should be an absolute superstar from the jump. Pitching's bad. But they are far more interesting now than they were a few years ago.
Well, and they won the World Series back in 15. So, yeah, and they made it the year before, right?
Yeah, lost to the Giants in 7. Yeah.
So.
I have the Cleveland Guardians finishing 5th.
Me too. I can't. That's going to take me a while to get used to.
Yeah. Pitching should be good. Offense should be just abysmal. I don't think they'll score enough runs.
Is Francona still their manager?
I think so. I believe so.
This might be the worst squad he's ever had.
Yeah, they should be pretty bad. AL West, I have the Astros, unfortunately, winning the division. Offense should put up huge numbers, even without Carlos Correa. Justin Verlander's back for him, which just adds to their rotation. They should be really good again. It's annoying. I have the Mariners finishing 2nd.
Me too.
I think this is a bold prediction from the J, man. Mariners finally break their playoff drought.
That's one of my 22 bold predictions.
Got it. Well, hey, lock it in.
Yeah, I got to lock it in.
Traded for Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez. Signed Robbie Ray, who won the Cy Young last year. They need a breakout year from Jared Kalenic, who's one of the top prospects in baseball. Did not have a good rookie year. Another top 3 prospect in baseball, Julio Rodriguez, who's an outfielder for the Seattle Mariners, made the team out of spring. So they should be a really interesting team to watch, and I think they'll be pretty dang good. I have the Rangers finishing 3rd.
I have the Angels.
Rangers signed Marcus Semien and Corey Seager to be their double play combo this year. Marcus Semien hit over 40 homers. Corey Seager's a great hitter. They also signed John Gray. Should be much better this year, but pitching is not very good for him. So that's why I have them finishing 3rd. I have the Angels finishing 4th. They signed Noah Syndergaard, but they are just wasting the prime years of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. It's an absolute shame.
They've already you can arguably say they've already wasted the prime years of Trout.
Yeah,
Even though
I
he's playing good baseball in front of him, but I feel bad for the guy. I'm like, are we ever going to see him in the postseason?
Yeah, he's 30 years old and been to the playoffs once. I think he went 1 for 12 in the 2000.
Nobody stays up that late to watch their games either.
No, it sucks that he's the greatest player, one of the greatest players ever, and he's not.
Yeah.
And then you add Shohei Ohtani, who
I know
had one of the most fascinating years in Major League Baseball history with his two-way play.
Right.
So it sucks. Finishing dead last, the Oakland A's.
Yep, I agree.
They completely gutted their roster. They traded Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, Sean Manaea. I saw this on Twitter. I thought this was interesting. They had the highest payroll in baseball in 1991 at $33 million. It is the exact same entering the 2022
31
season
years later
as it was in 1991.
31 years later.
I actually saw this on TikTok. If you were to buy MLB The Show for, I don't know, 69 or $70, you would have spent more money this offseason than the Oakland A's.
That's fantastic.
That's pathetic.
And they want a new stadium. Okay.
Pathetic. Yeah, and they want a new stadium, yet they're going to have the worst roster ever.
Yeah, nobody's going to go to their games.
They'll be terrible.
Yep.
National League East, I have the Atlanta Braves finishing first. It's kind of
a coin
flip for me, though. Lost Freddie Freeman, but they did trade for Matt Olson, who's a great first baseman. Pitching staff should be really good. They hope to have Acuna Jr. back after blowing his knee out right about the All-Star break last year. They want him back by June, or expect him back by June. But they should be really good again.
Yeah.
I have the Phillies finishing second.
I have the Mets, unfortunately.
I think this division will be really good as well.
Yeah, it should be.
They added Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos to Bryce Harper, who won the MVP last year. They should hit a lot of homers, score a ton of runs. Pitching should just be okay. Zach Wheeler had a fantastic year for him last year. Kyle Gibson is back. So is Aaron Nola. They should be okay. Bullpen is kind of a question mark. I have the Mets finishing third.
I have the Phillies third.
They signed Max Scherzer, traded for Chris Bassett from the Oakland A's. They signed Starling Marte. They did lose Jacob deGrom for a while with a stress reaction in the shoulder.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. They should prevent runs pretty well this year and should be right in it, I would imagine. But I mean, you have to factor in they're the New York Mets, so something's going to happen that they're going to implode or something like that. I have the Marlins.
Buck Showalter's their new manager.
Yeah, which I mean, he adds credibility for sure. I mean, he's won a lot of ball games, but I have the Marlins finishing fourth. They signed Jorge Soler, Avisail Garcia. They have a great young pitching staff with a ton of arms. Trevor Rogers, Sandy Alcantara, guys that throw really hard, are really, really good. Problem is the offense just, I don't think will be good enough, but this team is capable because of their pitching staff of surprising people. So we'll see. I for whatever reason, kind of like the Marlins a little bit. I don't know why. And we both have the Washington Nationals finishing fifth. They signed Nelson Cruz to be their DH. Juan Soto is the best hitter in the NL. Pitching is porous. It is pathetic. Their pitching staff.
It went from one of the best,
so bad,
best overall staffs 3 or 4 years ago to garbage.
Terrible. Yeah, just terrible. Moving on to the NL Central, I unfortunately have the Brewers winning that one.
I have the Cardinals.
The Brewers signed Andrew McCutchen and Hunter Renfroe this offseason. They have the best starting pitching duo in Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff, and the best reliever duo in Josh Hader and Devin Williams in baseball, in my opinion. Christian Yelich has not had very good seasons the past 2 years, so they need him to be better. But with that pitching staff, the offense should be good enough. I think they're the best team in the division. I have the Cardinals finishing second.
I have the Brewers.
They signed Steven Matz, and it's kind of the last run for Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright, and then they signed Albert Pujols, so it's kind of their last hurrah there. They should be solid, and I think they'll be a playoff team. And honestly, I think it's a coin flip between the Brewers and Cardinals anyway. Yeah. Finishing third, I have the Chicago Cubs. They signed
Me as well.
Marcus Stroman, Seiya Suzuki. Rotation should be much better. just with Stroman, but Wade Miley will start the year on the DL, which really hurts them because he had a good year with the Reds last year. But they need a much better Kyle Hendricks. He was not very good last year, especially towards the end of the season, which the whole team was bad at that point. They actually had one of the best offenses in baseball in September, but you kind of look at their lineup top to bottom and you're like, this team's not very good.
Just because it's got a lot of no names.
Sure. And I mean, Seiya Suzuki, you don't really know what you're going to expect yet. Right. I think it'll take a little while to adjust to major league pitching for him, but he could absolutely have a great year and maybe even win Rookie of the Year this year. Key to the offense, in my opinion, is Ian Happ. They can't afford for him to wait 4 months before he starts hitting like he did last year. They just need him to be good. The issue I have with this lineup is it looks like they're going to start Jason Hayward in center field almost every single game.
Forgot he's still on the team.
He's a bad center fielder for one. Can't hit a lick. And if he shouldn't even make the team. Honestly, I think they still owe him $48 million or something. But at this point, it's a sunk cost.
Yeah.
Let him go. He's taking at bats away from guys who could really use it at the major league level. They're holding on for some reason, and it's just super annoying to me. They do have some really good young arms in the bullpen. The bullpen should be pretty good. Ethan Roberts, who's a rookie, made the team out of spring. They have a guy by the name of Ben Leeper, Kane Euchert, who I think will start at AAA, but should be up sometime. They throw hard, can get outs, which they need some high-profile arms in the pen. I have the Reds finishing fourth.
Yep,
they gutted their roster much like the Oakland A's. Top prospect Hunter Green made the roster. He throws 104 mile an hour. Bullpen has a chance to be the worst in the history of sports. I was looking at the projections for the Reds bullpen, and they don't have one guy in there that's projected to have an ERA below like 4.5 or something. It is terrible. They're going to have a real hard time getting outs this year. I had literally never heard of the guy who was projected to be their closer coming into the year. Never heard of him. I have the Pirates finishing fifth.
Yeah.
They did nothing in the offseason to the point that Jose Quintana is their number one starter. I don't know if he's starting opening day, but he's projected as their number one starter. Worst team in the National League, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In the NL West, I have the Dodgers.
Yeah, I'm tired of them, but I agree.
Freddie Freeman, Craig Kimbrell, they are absolutely loaded.
Just loaded.
Yep. I have the Padres finishing second.
I have the Giants.
They traded for Luke Voigt, traded for Sean Manaea. They did lose Fernando Tatis Jr. for a while with wrist surgery. The Giants finishing third. I think last year was a fluke when they won 100. Where they won 107 games. Lost Kevin Gausman and Chris Bryant. They did sign Carlos Rodon and Alex Cobb. I think they'll be solid. I just don't think they'll be nearly as good as last year. Have the Rockies finishing fourth.
Same.
Signed Chris Bryant, and we talked about this.
That was it.
That was it, and it really made zero sense for the Rockies to sign him.
I'm telling you, I think it's all PR marketing.
And it could be. They shouldn't be very good.
No.
I have the D-backs finishing fifth. Yep. They did absolutely nothing. They're just a bad team.
They stink.
Playoffs here in the AL, I have the Blue Jays, White Sox, Astros. Winning divisions, wild card, I have Red Sox, Yankees, and Mariners.
I have the byes as the Jays and the Astros. And then I have the Tigers, Rays, Yankees, and Mariners.
Okay.
And I have the Rays winning
12.
The AL.
Yes, 12-team playoff this year, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
In the NL, I have the Braves, Brewers, Dodgers, Phillies, Mets, and Cardinals winning the wild card.
I have the Dodgers and Braves getting the byes, Cardinals, Giants, Brewers, and Mets, and the Cardinals winning the National League.
Ugh.
I know.
I have the Blue Jays winning the American League, Dodgers winning the National League, and in my bold predictions for 2022, I have the Blue Jays winning the World Series, and that's what I'm sticking with. I think the Blue Jays beat the Dodgers and win their first World Series since 1993.
When they went back-to-back.
Yeah.
Joe Carter off Mitch Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a team from the AL East and the NNAs, but it's the Rays getting their first ever World Series championship over the Cardinals.
Cardinals being in the World Series would just...
I did that just for you to get your reaction.
It's worse. I actually have my MVP and Cy Young.
I do too. Too.
My MVP in the American League, I have Vlad Jr.
We agree.
And in the National League, I have Trey Turner winning it for the Dodgers.
I have Juan Soto.
Which, that could happen easily.
I like how the MLB, you don't have to be on a good team to win the MVP. They give it to the most valuable player.
Mm-hmm. Cy Young in the American League, I have Garrett Cole.
I do as well.
And in the National League, I kind of went with the wild card here and Max Fried from the Atlanta Braves.
I went with Walker Buehler with the Dodgers.
That's a good pick. So that's going to do it for MLB preview. We got 1 minute left here. I'll try to get this birdie bogey in. Armando Bacot has secured his 30th double-double of the season, breaking a tie with what player for most in a season in ACC history? This guy is an NBA legend, but he played during our lifetime.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan is correct. Tanner got a birdie.
All right.
Nice.
I had to think of played our lifetime legend, ACC. I'm thinking Maryland, old Maryland players. I'm thinking Duke Carolina. Then I'm like, it's got to be, Tim Duncan. So,
Timmy. That was a good one there,
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Have a good time watching some college basketball tonight, some baseball over the weekend, and the Masters over the weekend.
Jam-packed week.
Yes, have a great week, everybody. We'll be back at it next Monday.